Welcome back to Only Talk Sports. So we talk sports every single day, or at least we try to. I'm Ernest Jeffrey, and subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our video. We've got the game of the week in college basketball on Saturday afternoon on Fox with a top 5 matchup in the Big East with the Marquette Golden Eagles traveling to the UConn Huskies. I'm going to preview and predict whether I think that Marquette can go on the road and win at UConn for the first time since UConn rejoined the Big East, or whether I believe that UConn will be able to knock off the Marquette Golden Eagles in this top 5 showdown and continue to keep their big-time lead in the Big East standings. Now, this is a very important game in the Big East Conference because if you look at UConn's record in conference play, they are 13-1 right now, and Marquette is 10-3. And these two teams play each other again at Marquette in a few weeks. So if Marquette can knock off UConn, they can stay within striking distance of being able to win the Big East. But if Marquette loses this game, barring a complete collapse from the UConn Huskies, there will be no shot for Marquette to be able to win the conference. Plus, this is just a fantastic game as well. Two teams ranked in the top 5. I know there's other good games like Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Houston, Kentucky, Auburn, but this is the game to watch. Even if you do not watch Big East basketball that much, this is going to be a fantastic showdown. And I know that the ESPN FPI predictor only gives the Marquette Golden Eagles a 24% chance to win to UConn's 75% chance, but I think this is a game that's going to go down the wire because when you look at Marquette, they've got Tyler Kolek. He's the leading scorer for Marquette, averaging 16 points per game. He shoots 88% at the free throw line, but he is so much more than that for Shaka Smart squad. He averages 7 assists and 5 rebounds per game. That's why Tyler Kolek is always in the All-American conversation because he's that good of a basketball player. His shooting splits are incredible with almost a 50-40-90, which is unbelievable, but also in the backcourt for the Marquette Golden Eagles to complement Tyler Kolek, you've got Cam Jones averaging 14 points per game and 2 boards, by far having his best season. He also shoots well from the three-point line at 37%. He's not as good at the free throw line. Oso Ighodaro is a player that's taken a leap this season, and he is averaging 14 points per game and 8 boards. He doesn't shoot that well from the free throw line, but he's got a lot of versatility, could be an NBA player. And then as you go down the rest of the roster, Marquette has a lot of good contributors, but their main 3 guys are Tyler Kolek, Cam Jones, and Oso Ighodaro. Overall, this team averages 79 points per game. They shoot 35% from 3 and 73% at the line. If Marquette would shoot the ball better at the free throw line in this UConn game than they normally do as a team, then that would definitely help boost their odds of knocking off the Huskies. But as is, they still are a decent enough free throw shooting team. But when you are on the road, especially when you're facing a team in the UConn Huskies, that is a fantastic team, and it is very tough to knock them off. Only 2 teams have knocked them off this season. Then you definitely have to knock down your free throws at a high rate. But when you look at UConn, though, the Huskies, they won the national championship last year, and a lot of people were wondering, can they do it again? Can they go back-to-back? Every single year it's the same. Ever since the Florida Gators won the national championship back-to-back in 2006 and 2007 when they had Billy Donovan at head coach and Al Horford and Joakim Noah as players, people have been waiting for the next team to do it. And the Kansas Jayhawks had a lot of hype after they won the national championship in 2022 that they could go back-to-back, but that didn't happen. But I believe UConn has a legitimate shot to be able to win another national title this year. Doesn't mean that they will, but this team is talented enough again, which is unbelievable considering the amount of talent that UConn lost from last season. But it's the addition of Cam Spencer that is making the glue come together for the UConn Huskies because he's averaging 15 points per game, 5 boards, and 3 assists. He's a great all-around player, kind of like Tyler Kolek in a way, even though Tyler Kolek is much more of a point guard, whereas Cam Spencer is a more of an off-the-ball player. But his addition is the reason UConn is still this good again. And look at his shooting splits. He's also flirting with a 50-40-90, which is absolutely unreal. Both Cam Spencer and Tyler Kolek are some of the best all-around players in college basketball. But then you've got Tristan Newton, who is a player that transferred in a couple years ago to UConn. He's averaging 15 points per game, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists. He's a triple-double threat night in and night out. He's in the All-American conversation as well, and his shooting splits are solid at the free throw line at 79% and from the field at 41%, but his three-point shooting is only at 30%, but he's so good in many other areas that his three-point shooting not being the best is not really an issue for UConn. Alex Caravan is a returning player from last season, and he's taken a big leap, averaging 14 points per game and 5 rebounds. He's a great three-point shooter as well, shooting 40% from the three-point line, and 88% at the free throw. Marquette definitely cannot foul Cam Spencer and Alex Caravan if they want to win, just like UConn can't foul Tyler Kolek, because those guys will light it up at the free throw line. Donovan Klingman, the 7'2" mountain of a man at the center position for UConn that decided to not go to the NBA draft last year and come back. He's averaging 12 points per game and 6 boards. He's only playing 20 minutes per game, and he has had a mini injury this season, but I do think a lot of people were expecting him to take a bigger jump this year, but he's still playing well. Every now and then he can knock down a three, which is pretty rare, and he struggles at the line, but his field goal shooting is great because obviously most of his shots are down low right at the rim, just like Zach Edey, but he is a really good player, and he's tough to stop, and it's going to be a matchup nightmare for Marquette to try to slow him down. Oso Ighodaro is going to have a tough time. Stephon Castle's averaging 11 points per game. Talented freshman. He's had some injuries as well, but he's getting his footing right now. Still struggling to shoot the ball from outside, but he's a very talented player. And then a lot of other players like Samson Johnson, Hassan Jar, Solomon Ball, they all contribute to this talented UConn squad. They're averaging 81 points per game as a team, 36% from three and 73% at the line. So even though UConn has great free throw shooters on their team, Donovan Klingman does drag down that free throw percentage. But as long as UConn puts the ball in the hands of their better free throw shooters at the end of the game, if they have the lead, they should be able to pull out a win if that's the case. And looking at the series history recently for these two squads, since UConn rejoined the Big East, Marquette has only won 2 of the matchups against the Huskies, and both of those games were on neutral sites and away from the UConn Huskies. Marquette, like I said, has not won at UConn since they rejoined the Big East. So that is a tough pill to swallow for the Marquette Golden Eagles. They'll have to overcome a lot to be able to do it this year. And then when you look at the bracket matrix, UConn's a 1 seed, whereas Marquette is a 2 seed. Both of these teams have fantastic NCAA tournament resumes, and both are easily going to make the NCAA tournament, and they should get protected seeds as well. But who do I think is going to win this top 5 matchup in the Big East? UConn is the team that won the national championship last year. They only have 2 losses in the entire season, and they are very tough to beat at home. UConn's home environment is one of the better environments in college basketball, especially in the last 20 years, because of what Jim Calhoun did to build up that program. And Dan Hurley's done a fantastic job getting this program back to the top of college basketball, and they're entering blue blood status, even though they do not have the all-time wins that these other programs have. But I believe that Marquette is going to have an issue going on the road in that tough environment, trying to slow down Donovan Klingman, who's one of the toughest players in college basketball to guard because of how big he is. But I do believe Marquette's going to take this game down to the wire because of the fact that Tyler Kolek is one of the best guards in college basketball, and he is a guy that does not get fazed by tough road environments. And Marquette is 2 games back of the UConn Huskies, and I believe that they're going to want to stay in the Big East title race. If they lose this game, they're going to be almost virtually eliminated. But I think the difference in this game is that the backcourt for UConn with Cam Spencer and Tristan Newton is just going to slightly outplay the Tyler Kolek, Cam Jones backcourt for Marquette, and Donovan Klingman is going to smother Oso Ighodaro down in the post. I'm going to go with the UConn Huskies to beat the Marquette Golden Eagles 81-78 in the game of the week in college basketball. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, whether you think the UConn Huskies can defend their home court and knock off the Marquette Golden Eagles and give themselves a 3-game lead in the Big East standings, or whether you think that Shaka Smart squad will be able to go on the road and knock off the UConn Huskies for the first time at the Huskies and stay in the Big East title race. Subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Like this video down below. Follow me on Twitter as well. Link is in the description, and I'll see you next time.